To our program. I'm your presenter Ayoub Mzee. So we're here in Cardiff, and with us here is the Welsh First Minister. Welcome to our program, sir.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Yeah, could you please introduce yourself?
So I'm Mark Drakeford. I'm the First Minister in the Welsh Government.
And what is your jurisdiction?
So devolution in the United Kingdom means that we now have governments in London, but also in Scotland and in Wales. The National Assembly for Wales is the name of our Parliament, and we are responsible for those domestic matters. So the health service, the education service, local government. We don't do foreign affairs, we don't have an army, but things that just go on in Wales are now controlled by the National Assembly, and I head the government here that takes care of all those things.
I know my view. I would like to know what is the difference between the first Prime Minister, the UK Prime Minister and the First Minister?
Yes. Well, I think mostly it's a matter of scale. So the UK Prime Minister has to look after the whole of the United Kingdom and everything that the United Kingdom does. The Welsh First Minister only has to look after Wales, a small country, 3 million people or so, and the list of things that we are responsible for is smaller than the UK Prime Minister has to take account of.
Yeah, we are here at the Tanzania event, and that brings you the question about Wales' relationship with Africa, but especially Tanzania.
Well, Wales is an outward-looking and welcoming country where we are determined, even in the difficult times we face with Brexit and so on, we are determined that Wales goes on being open to the world, having relationships in all parts of the world, and our relationship with Africa has been particularly important to us during the 20 years of devolution. So we have a particular programme, the Wales for Africa programme. It's not great in scale, but it has huge enthusiasm, enormous involvement from people and communities in Wales, and it operates in Tanzania as well. And the aim of the programme is to share expertise, to focus on education, on health, on sustainable livelihoods, and on climate change, and to exchange expertise, exchange views. I always say, whenever we go to Africa, we always come back with more than we took.
Have you been to Africa yourself?
I've never been to Africa, but large numbers of my cabinet colleagues over the years have been to visit African projects or to foster personal links that some of my colleagues have with Africa.
I know you are meeting the Tanzania High Commissioner, Dr. Asha Rose Migiro. What is your anticipation?
We're looking very much forward to doing that. It's my first opportunity to meet with the High Commissioner. We're very pleased indeed to welcome her here to Wales. Hundreds of people from Tanzania live in Wales, and it's very important for them sometimes to have a focus that brings them together, that allows them to meet with their representatives. And the focus today of their meeting will be on business links, on economic opportunities, and we look forward very much to welcoming the Tanzanian diaspora here to this meeting in Cardiff.
Now let's go to the issue of integration and Africa. I understand Wales has been a home of African immigrants, especially the Somali people who have been living here for more than 100 years.
For well over 100
Well
years.
over 100 years.
So,
how's the relationship and integration?
thank you. So Cardiff is a seaport, and in the 19th and 20th centuries, it was a very busy seaport as well, because Wales was the world's supplier of coal. So coal was exported from Wales all around the world, and of course ships came back bringing goods from other places, and very often those ships were staffed by people from other parts of the world, and people from Somaliland particularly came to Cardiff very early on in that experience, and numbers of them settled in the dockland area of Cardiff. So it's our largest or longest indigenous community from elsewhere in the world. I mean, today Cardiff is a multicultural city with people from many parts of Africa and many parts of the world living here, welcome here, playing a very important. Welcome to Wales, croeso I Gymru, and welcome to Tanzania.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mumtaz Kassam, an ambassador but deputy head of mission at the Uganda Embassy in Italy. The UN agencies FAO, World Food Programme and IFAD. The Uganda Embassy in Rome is quite an important embassy for us in Europe, as we cover several European countries. And basically, since we handle the multilateral agencies of the United Nations, such as FAO, World Food Programme and IFAD, there is lots of activity and work in terms of food security. And so agribusiness and agricultural aspects of investments are quite important. Uganda is an important destination for us, and especially in the tourism sector. We have such unique tourism sites, and gorilla trekking. Recently we had the solar eclipse, and especially the primates. So for us in Europe, we are trying our best to promote Uganda. In fact, we are now actually doing brochures in Italian and other languages so that people who don't speak English can read about our wonderful country and make a decision to visit it. The embassy, the Uganda Embassy in Rome, is located very centrally. It's at Giulio Cesare, which is about 10 minutes from the Vatican, and so very easy for people to get to. We handle visas like tourism visas, multiple entry visas, business visas, and of course diplomatic visas for a lot of the UN officials who do travel to Uganda constantly.
Your Excellency, when you left England, there was some allegations which emanated into some kind of a legal battle between you and your assistants. Could you please elaborate on that? What really happened?
Yes, it's rather unfortunate that when I was being transferred to another mission, my domestic worker, initially she was my domestic worker, but later was employed by the Uganda High Commission, since I was entitled to a domestic worker assigned to me. She decided to take me to court, and she alleged initially that I had a personal contract with her in 2004 and that I owed her salaries amounting to £1,125 since 2004. I have been dragged into the system because they started the proceedings in the Chancery Division of the High Court, and she has been to several lawyers, all unfortunately on a conditional fee arrangement, which means on a no-win, no-fee basis. And so I had to defend the proceedings, and that meant coming to London quite often and incurring costs with lawyers. But thankfully, it's now all over.
Now, why do you think she made this allegation, and why do you think it was you?
Well, she was employed by me personally since 1998 as my chef and domestic worker, and she would accompany me as my accompanying maid to England. But when I was transferred to England, and my posting actually began in England in 2004, she decided to join me here, and she was still helping out with official functions at the Uganda High Commission. But in 2006, when the High Commission gave her a contract directly so that she can then be employed by the High Commission, since I became entitled to a domestic worker assigned to me as deputy head of mission, she somehow was misled by people, or perhaps met some people through other people. I have no idea how she met these lawyers. And then she started making all kinds of allegations that I owe her salaries and that she was employed by me since 1998 or 2004. Now, the confusion arose that in her particulars of claim, she kept insisting that there was a 2004 contract, when we proved that there was no 2004 contract, but there was a 1998 contract directly with me. That's when she said, okay, then you owe me all this money from 1998. So the whole case terminated in lots of confusion, lots of wild allegations, and figures that actually didn't even match up.
And how much was she claiming?
She was initially claiming about £70,000. And then, of course, they added up damages, interest, and other issues. And I, as a matter of principle, thought that I don't owe her any money, so I have to defend myself. And I'm very happy to say that justice was done.
Now, do you think that according to the first arrangement that you had with her, she received her salary?
Yes, through my 1998 contract, which was actually signed in Uganda between Daphne and myself, and we are both Ugandan nationals, both domiciled in Uganda. She was receiving her salary in Uganda. At that time, I didn't even anticipate or even foresee that I would become a diplomat, let alone have the privilege of serving my country in England. And so whatever salary was due to her was paid. She came with me to South Africa briefly. I continued paying her salary. She would sometimes send her son or her brother to collect the salary, and we have all the vouchers to prove that she's been paid. When she was working with me in Uganda, she was being paid the Ugandan salary, which is the market rate in Uganda. When she came to the United Kingdom as my accompanying maid, she was getting a surplus over her income in Uganda. Then when she became employed by the High Commission in 2006, the High Commission was paying her a salary which they could afford to pay her. So the High Commission's employment was with her on a salary that was being paid for by the High Commission. And the High Commission informed me that I would be responsible for her upkeep, i.e. I would be responsible for her accommodation, for her food, and that they would then be able to pay her a salary. And that is what the arrangement was.
Tanzania. I'm Jane Bryant, Welsh Assembly Member for Newport West.
Why are we here today?
We're here to learn more about Tanzania and the links between Wales and Tanzania, and it's a pleasure to be here and to make those connections.
Been to Zanzibar, what was your experience?
I haven't personally been to Zanzibar, but I have good friends who have, and to Tanzania, and they thoroughly enjoyed it, friends from Wales, and they have encouraged everybody to go that they've seen. So friends pass these things on, so it is a wonderful to hear all about it.
Yeah, tell me, what should I be looking out? Why do you say Wales is an ultimate tourist destination?
Wales has got everything. We've got the sea, we've got beautiful mountains, the coastline's wonderful, great history and culture, and I think it's really important to make connections across the world and to show that Wales has friends everywhere as well.
What do you know about Tanzania personally?
I know that I've got absolutely beautiful scenery, wonderful, whether that's wildlife, mountains, the sea, and nature is so important, and it's just wonderful to get to know it a bit more.
It's a very nice book, if I say so myself, which is full of pictures of the various parts of Wales.
Have a person who came from the ministry who represents the department that deals with diaspora. So I would very much encourage you to take advantage of that, especially during lunch. But at this time, we would like her to make part of. I think we are going to have a session dealing with specific,
which we are also a member of. So basically, if you have any kind of, let's say, issues with your investment, legal issues, which might, any kind, but you have to register with them though, for them to facilitate you if you have any issues or investment related. Yeah. Just as an insurance for your investment, if you have, maybe if you foresee that in future you might have any issues with your investment, just to have an insurance to safeguard it. We're a member of the International Center for the Settlement of Investment Disputes. Yeah. To secure your investment as an insurance.
Diaspora.
Yeah. And for the diaspora, you asked if what category are you recognized?
By TIC, because we have had a conflict here. When we go down there, we are just treated like foreign investors. I want to hear from you, who are we when we want to invest in Tanzania?
I don't think, let me take that as your High Commissioner here.
which is needed. And what we are encouraging here is deep sea fishing for prospective investors to come and invest in deep sea fishing or large-scale fishing as a whole. Yeah. Another one is the tourism and leisure industry. This one is a more rather obvious area to invest because Tanzania, we are quite rich in areas of tourist attractions which can attract tourists, be it national parks, game reserves, Zanzibar, the islands, Mount Kilimanjaro, and etc. So which means there's room for investors to come and invest in the tourist sector, be it in hotels, theme parks, etc. Anything that can make the tourists come to Tanzania and have a good time, enjoy and make memories out of it. This is just some of the key facts about our tourism in Tanzania. Investors to invest in spare parts, a full-on manufacturing plant for vehicles, as well as the assembling plant for vehicles. All of this has a room to invest in Tanzania. Secondly is the pharmaceutical and medical equipments. This is really important to us because we spend over $1 billion in importing medicine and medical equipment alone. And good thing right now, we have our medical stores department, which basically it's an agency of the government which has the right to procure medicines and medical equipment to the country. And they gained a contract with the SADC nations to supply medicine, which is not less than 15 countries. So market is assured, for sure. So we are just encouraging investors or prospects to come in and invest in this subsector, and whereby we can also get to procure medicine from them other than importing and spend a lot of money while doing that. Yes. Another one is the edible oils. In this case, basically it's the whole value chain from the raw materials are available, of which you can also choose to grow your own. Basically, sunflower is an abundance in Tanzania in the making of edible oils. But not to limit you, you can also choose to venture in other kind of edible oils because the demand of edible oils is high, but the supply is low. As you can see from my data provided there, our demand from 2016 was about 500,000 tons, but our supply was over 180. So you can see the deficit there. And of course, population is growing and demand is keep on increasing. It's not going down. And hence, there's a niche market for it, whereby for more prospects to come in and invest in this subsector and produce, and the market is assured locally and as well as for nearby markets. Currently, we are importing mostly edible oils from Malaysia, palm oil. For cotton and textiles, again, it's for the whole value chain because our cotton is highly demanded for export to the nearby countries, especially Turkey. It imports a lot of our cotton into their country for the textile industry. So again, as for the cotton, the whole value chain for the cotton is highly. I'll give you a confidence using our stats from the World Economic Forum and as well as UNCTAD. And so basically that indicates that our economy is stable, and we are also projecting it to be stable in the coming years. Another one is about our natural resources. We have an abundance of natural resources, be it arable lands, minerals, tourist attractions, natural gas, all of this which is waiting yet to be tapped and invested on. So we welcome you to venture in those areas. But it is also good to have investment guarantees, which we also have. As an investor, you want to have also a peace of mind that when you invest in a country, you have something to secure your investments. So for Tanzania, we're a member of MIGA, the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, which is also under the wing of World Bank. So it's globally recognized, and it safeguards you against non-commercial risk of your investment. Yes. But then also we have ATIA, the African Trade Insurance Agency, which, good thing about it, it also safeguards you against both commercial and non-commercial risks. Yes. But then also we are at a really good strategic location, which basically means that once you come and invest in Tanzania, you're not only looking at the Tanzanian market, but it will be easier for you to venture in the nearby market as well, whereby we have 3 major ports, which gives you easy access to the nearby markets, and it serves about not less than 7 landlocked countries which depend on our ports accessibility to bring import and export their products. So that's also a plus. Then also for ease of markets, we are also a member of the East African Community, which is not less than over 115 million people. And for SADC, also, which is not less than 450 million people. So what this means is that you have an access to all these markets which are yet for you to tap and venture in as well, not only the Tanzanian market. We also provide two categories of incentives at TIC, fiscal and non-fiscal. So I'll go through a bit about the fiscal incentives, fastest growing economies with a percentage growth rate of 7.2%. So this is our economic strength, because as an investor you need to know that, to have the confidence that you're investing in a country whereby the economy is strong and has a progress of growing also in the near future, and it's steady. As for the FDI inflows, this is a chart based on the UNCTAD, the source, 2017 data as well. This is the East African countries, Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya. Green being Tanzania, yellow Uganda, and red Kenya. As you can see, from the year 2013 up to 2017, Tanzania has been leading with the foreign direct investment. So this is also one of our strengths, and we have a reason as to why our country is leading in attracting FDIs, and I'll explain that in the next slide. So basically, why should you invest in Tanzania? The first basic point is about our peace and political stability. We have the pride of saying that our country is politically stable and peaceful. We don't really have any issues which can cause political instability, which is a good key factor when you're trying to invest in a country, because you want to have the peace of mind that your investment will be safe and it won't be hindered by any political instabilities. So we can peacefully say that our country is safe and sound, and you can have an investment with no political instability. Why invest in Tanzania? Generally about investment in Tanzania and all the information you need precisely. This will be the agenda of my presentation. So basically I'll take you through a bit about the intro of TAC and the incentive we provide, and the investment trends and the economic strength about Tanzania as to why you should invest there, and generally also just about the opportunities which are available to invest within Tanzania. So basically in Tanzania we have a vision of 2025 whereby we plan to be an industrialized nation by then, and hence to make that dream or vision realistic, we are currently focusing on the manufacturing sector as a whole. Well, the manufacturing sector is a bit broad, but we have some few sub-sectors of which we are currently spearheading, of which I'll talk about a few of them in the next slides. And for Tanzania Investment Center, we have mainly three tasks, but mainly for promoting and facilitating investments. So we are the key agency in Tanzania with the mandate to facilitate investors once you do choose to come and invest in Tanzania mainland, as well as to promote, to give you the right information to assist you in your investment in the country. At TAC, Tanzania Investment Center, we have a one-stop shop, which basically means that we have a number of institutions and agencies which facilitate investors. This includes for your tax issues, we have the Tanzania Revenue Authority, we have an institution for the company registrations there. We as well have the Labor Department for your work permit, and immigration for your residence permits, and for the Environment Impact Assessment Certificate. We have a number of institutions, all of which are ready to serve you and offer assistance under one roof, rather than you having to move from one place to another. So we have provided all these people and personnel and senior officers from the respective institutions to facilitate the investors. As for our economic overview, the source of this data being the REIT and the wide community as well.
For investment so that business can prosper. Therefore, today's forum is a testimony to that principle. Finally, I would like to welcome Her Excellency the High Commissioner for Tanzania in the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, Dr. Asha Rose Migiro, to explain the aims and purpose of this forum, opportunities, potentials for investment in Tanzania. Your Excellency. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it gives me immense pleasure to stand here this morning to welcome you all to our event.
It means a best tea, a best coffee. Yes, Bora is mean best. Yeah. So here it is. Yeah.
Thank you. I got it. I got your back cover.